What's up, FTFers? I am so excited today. I am stoked because today I'm going to be showing y'all my brand new knife. And when I say my brand new knife, I literally mean my knife. This is a collaboration between Fuel the Fires and WC Knives, and I am just so excited about it. I cannot even begin to tell you how humbled I am that a custom knife maker like William Collins would contact me and the guys at Fuel the Fires and say, hey, let's work on a project together. And this is the result of that. And I'm so excited right now. I can barely contain myself. This is the very first prototype that came off of the line. I have one, Mike Simmons has one. We're gonna be putting this blade through the paces, so make sure you stay tuned to that. But so much has gone into this, and I typically don't like unboxing videos. I think they're boring, so I'm gonna make sure I overlay some of me playing with the knife as soon as I got it. And I'm gonna go ahead and apologize to William because I know that the knife is dirty, but I don't run any safe queens. As soon as I get a tool like this, I'm actually working with it. And I've got to say, you know, I've had so many knives in the past and I've just had to modify all of them in some way, shape, fashion, or form. This is truly my first knife that I could get out of the box and I don't have to do any modification to it whatsoever. And I just wanted to show y'all today, and I would appreciate it if you would leave comments for me. William has already done a video on this knife. There's already been one reveal on the video, and the reception on this blade has been incredible. We're already thinking we're at about 200 knives so far, and we haven't even really got out of the gate yet. So maybe as early as Thanksgiving, we'll have pre-orders available where you'll put in half for your deposit, and then you'll have to wait about 4 months and then pay the other half to get this shipped to you. But today I want to talk a little bit about the design itself and why we did what we did. What we were looking for in a true belt knife is we wanted a true fieldcraft knife. That was really important to me. I wanted elements of bushcraft, survival, food processing, hunting, and even self-defense built into one knife. Something that was a one-tool solution for me to do all of those things. And I think we have certainly made that happen. You'll notice it is a Kephart style blade, which is a very prominent knife design from the past that has affected and influenced I don't know how many knife designs that are out there, but it's basically a spear point blade, which is good for all of those things. The only problem that I had with Kephart's original knife, the dimensions of that knife, is that it was just too small. I wanted something that was bigger, and so I'll just go ahead and start from tip to butt. The overall length of the blade itself is 5.5 inches, and then the handle is 4 7/8. And then you'll notice that we have a pommel, which is extended past the handle for a total of 10.5 inches. And I think that's just the sweet spot for a belt knife. The thickness of the blade is 5/32. And for those of you that are into the metric system thing, it's 4 millimeters. Steel, it is AEB-L, which the reason that we went with AEB-L is because it has superior edge retention, it's durable, it's tough, and ease of maintenance. And it just made sense for this blade. I go into so many different environments, whether it's marshes or brackish water, being on the coastline, or just being exposed to the elements, dealing with processing game and fish, etc. I wanted something that was going to be pretty easy for me to maintain in the field. And I love carbon steel blades, but they require a lot more maintenance. As far as the Rockwell of this steel, That's up to the manufacturer, like whoever, or the knife maker himself. This one right here, we did not want something as low as 54 to 56 because you're gonna be having to sharpen the knife constantly. That just sucks. And we didn't want something that was like 62 to 65, somewhere in there, because that's just too hard. It's really hard to maintain a knife that has that hard of a hardness on it. So we went right there in the middle, but a little bit high. This one tested out at 61 HRC. And what I can tell you is that I have beat the ever-loving crap out of this knife, and it will still cut paper. It will still shave hair. Just to show y'all. There you go. There's my hair on it. This blade is super sharp. William is an amazing knife maker, and I can say that out of the box, I don't know that I've ever received a sharper knife than from William. And I've had lots of knives. I can honestly say that. He does send Band-Aids. So if you ever order a knife from William, you'll get a Band-Aid in the mail. As far as the grind, it is a saber grind. This is what William calls a high saber grind. See if y'all can see that. I'll try to get up close for you. So with a high saber grind, that's like a multi-grind. I like Scandi grinds when I'm doing wood processing, for example, if I'm making trap triggers or I'm carving out spoons or something like that. I like hollow grinds when I'm skinning, for example. I like flat grinds when I'm cutting up my food, like potatoes, tomatoes, cutting my steak or whatever. And I like specialty grinds too, like Scandivexes, for example, or even full convex, the axe grind, for example. I think that there's a place for every single grind out there, but when it comes to something that will do everything, that's why we chose to go with a high saber grind. And the knife itself, something that William is known for, is having a 12, 13 degree bevel on his secondary. And that's something that I really like about William's work. Another thing that was super important to us is the spine is 90 degrees. And I promise you, it is sharp. I mean, look, I'm shaving my thumb right here. So as far as processing tenders, you know, striking your ferro rod, for example, using it as a draw card or using it as a draw knife, you can do it with this blade. And I've done all of those things. There's another thing that's really super cool about this blade, and that is, I wish I had a piece of wood to show y'all, but if you wanted to drill with this knife, you can do that. And part of that is the spear tip design. So if you wanted to make a friction fire set, you can do that method with it. Or if you're making like the thumb holes for, or finger holes for an atlatl, for example, this knife gives you the ability to do that, not just with the tip design itself, but also with the handle design. So I'll talk a little bit about the handle. Right off the bat, this is black micarta, and we went with red G10 liners and red pins on the knife. That's just some fuel to fire flair, if you will. And I think it's a pretty sexy combo, the way that it looks and everything. But micarta, number one, it's super tough. It's super durable. And number two, one thing that I really like about micarta is that when it gets wet, it's a lot grippier. So if you have, you know, water or blood and guts on your hands, the knife actually becomes grippier, which is a feature that I wanted built into this knife. Also, we have a bow drill divot, which is built into the knife. And after we made the prototypes, we ended up revealing the knife on William's channel, and we had a bunch of southpaws say, well, what about the other side of the knife? Why don't you have a bow drill divot on that side? I can show methods where you can use the bow drill divot for both right and left-handed people, but we're considering putting a bow drill divot on both sides of the knife for the production model. But the bow drill divot is the hardest thing in a friction fire set if you're making a bow drill to make or to source. And so we just wanted to go ahead and take that out of the mix immediately so that it had some multi-function. And as far as multi-function goes, we also wanted to have this extended pommel on the knife. And the reason for that is if you are processing out shellfish or nuts to get them out of the shell, for example, or if you need to bust a zombie in the head, you know what I'm saying? You have the ability to do that, and you're not going to compromise the integrity of the handle itself. Also, we have a pinky lanyard option as well. And you can see in the handle, William has designed in a Coke bottle design, and that allows me to grab it right here. And if I want to use it for chopping action, I have control over the knife. It's not going to fly out of my hand. And I really like that. That was all William. That was part of his design. Something else that I wanted was thumb scallops on the handle because I do use my knife in that configuration, like I was talking about, using it to draw with, for example. He did put a slight ledge on there and was like, hey, just try it out, see what you think. And what I realized when I was testing, that if I wanted to smash something with it, I have this ledge right here from my thumb, and I have control because of it. And also, same thing on the butt end of the knife, I have control. I'm not going to slip and run my hand down on the blade itself. So that's something, you know, William's experience that really came into key to play with that right there. I'm really glad that he decided to talk us into that, if you will. But yeah, this is the blade overall. Like I said, it is a utility knife. Somebody may notice that the handle is pretty thick, and a word about that. The reason that we did that, something that I like about the old Ontarios or the SE knives, is they left you a lot of material on the handle. That way, if you had large or extra large hands, you got great purchase on the knife. And then if you had, you know, medium to smaller hands, there was plenty of material that you could take off, right? You can take off material, but you can't add the material to this. And so we wanted to incorporate that so that anybody that wanted to get this knife, they could get the knife, they could remove the material, fit it to their hands, and it would work for them as well. So overall, I am super pumped about this. I have put it through its paces. I have gone through things I should not have gone through, like Bradford pear, super knotty, twisted grain, just terrible to work with. Yeah, I busted through that. I went through red oak, I went through beech, hickory, musclewood, and even the softwoods like pine and poplar and cedar. I stabbed it into the trunks of hardwoods to test the tip strength on it, passed with flying colors. And it feathers, amazing. I know that y'all are gonna see that in the footage that I overlay there. And even after I had done all of that, and this is just me initially playing with the knife, it still would feather at the end. Oh, I almost forgot one of the most important parts of it, the sheath. Right? So this is the one that William made me to ship the knife to me. It's a Kydex sheath. We're trying to consider what we're gonna use. I like Kydex, but it doesn't do well when it's super cold, like -25 and below. I've actually broke sheaths at that temperature. There are pros and cons to Kydex. There's pros and cons to leather as well. This is a JRE Model U, and this one has the dangler option, which you can just run it like this, put it through your belt loop, and you know the knife goes into the sheath and fits just fine. This sheath will work just well, you know, this sheath works, it's adequate, if you will. Some people, they don't want a dangler. If that's the case, you can take the dangler off. You can see right there, it's removable, or you can just put it down to the side like this, no big deal. This one also comes with a ferro rod holder on the side of it. If you're gonna carry a survival knife, you might as well carry your fire, have it all in one package. But there are potentially other options that are gonna be available as well. Our own boy, Trent Daniel with Hat Creek Outdoors, he's made sheaths for us in the past and done an incredible job. He called me and said, hey, I want in on the sheath making. Randy with Stitch Gear, it's possible that he'll be making aftermarket sheaths for it as well. And the way I see it at this point, we don't have any shortage of sheath options. But in the comment section, if you'll leave a comment on what your preferences are, I would appreciate that, just so I can pass it on to the sheath makers and for Williams general knowledge as well. So if you're Honey Smack digging the video, you're digging the knife, you're digging the collaboration, then get in there, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And until next time, just keep fueling those fires.
Land of Land, your trusted source for extraordinary vacant land across America that expresses your unique, special passions while diversifying your investment portfolio and hedging against runaway inflation. Imagine the thrill and prestige of land ownership, owning a piece of America, making the best investment on earth as simple as an online purchase. Off-the-grid serenity, pricing from $1,000 payable by credit card. Visit us today at landofland.com, America's premier land wholesaler for over a decade.